as everyone comes in, I think we have over 60 people registered for the show this afternoon. Thank you very much for joining me. The reason we are having this show today is prompted by a post I made last week, which was showing a feature in live streaming that I thought might be useful. No, Louise, I'm afraid no intro music today. I could play some music, but no, we're going to get down to business. So thanks everyone for joining us today. Angela, hi Angela, good to see you. So this is a feature that can be used in 101 different circumstances, whether you're in business, whether you're a teacher, if you're giving online tuition, if you're giving online presentations, if you're in a Zoom call, if you're in a crowdcast presentation, as we are here, if you're streaming to Facebook, then it's often the case that there's more information you want to have on screen than just yourself. There's more information you want to share. Hi Jessica. And in doing so, it might be a presentation that you have, it might be other images and videos that you're sharing on screen, you might be using multiple cameras. Now all of those things I can cover another time, but today what I want to cover is the ability to have your PowerPoint presentation on screen in a way that that you'll have rarely seen before, and there's a really simple way to do it. So there are a couple of tools that I'm going to use this afternoon. Obviously we are, thanks Patrick, my wife is not glad that the beard is back, but there are a couple of tools that I'm going to be using. We are obviously on Crowdcast just now. This is in Crowdcast. We could be on Zoom, we could be on Hopin, we could be on any number of other platforms. We could even be using Messenger or Google Meets and so on. But so the platform itself is not so important. The other tool that I'm going to be using is PowerPoint. Everyone should be experiencing using PowerPoint in one way or another, and everyone has varying levels of experience in using PowerPoint to get their message across. You go to all sorts of presentations and you'll see ones that are really simple and others that are really complex. They've got the fancy transitions, embedded videos and so on. And the next tool that we're going to be using is Manycam. So Manycam is a tool I use all the time. Manycam.com is the website to go to for Manycam. You can get a free version which has a little logo down the bottom, but the free version has almost all of the features that we're going to be showing here today, and certainly almost all the features that you would want to use. But Manycam has amazing tools in which you can be sharing your presentation online. So many of the things that we're going to show today you could be doing without Manycam, but it is one of the best ways of getting your content on screen. So for example, you can see my logo here. You can have logos on screen, you can have multiple cameras. If I wanted to switch over to this camera over here, if I was looking in that direction, then I could go back to this camera here. You can have multiple cameras on the go, you can have static images, or of course, as Louise was saying, we're not playing any music at the start, you could be playing live videos. So I'll cut back to that there. So the thing that we're looking to do really today is to explain how we can do this sort of thing. So what you can see here, and in order to do this, I have changed some of the settings to make this happen. And obviously what we've got on screen here is a PowerPoint presentation where I've also got an embedded video. So on this, I've got this presentation that I've made from before. I can move on screen to screen. I've got little videos embedded on each screen. And of course I've got other screens that have full videos in them. And the ability to do this with me down in the corner there is much simpler than you imagine. I'm going to demonstrate exactly how that's done, but I'll switch back to here in the meantime, and I'll just pause this. So let me just go back to the beginning of that presentation so I can explain exactly how that is done. So in the first place, as I say, I'm using Manycam. So what I'm going to do is share what Manycam looks like for me so that you can see that. Let me just share my screen. So bear with me, 2 ticks, application window, Manycam, and share. So my Manycam should go large on screen, and you should be able to see what I can see. So on Manycam here, I'm in the middle. I've got my logo down here. The different scenes that I was switching to at the bottom are these here. So on Manycam, if I was switching from this screen to this screen to this screen, then that's what you'll see when I switch from one to the other. This is the one with the presentation on it. Now, What I started with was a basic, well, I say a basic, a PowerPoint presentation that I had made here. So this PowerPoint presentation is set in this scene here. I then made it into this here with the green background. So if I look at the first PowerPoint presentation, just to be absolutely clear, what I have in this PowerPoint presentation is all my various slides, and on each slide I made a recording of me talking over the slides to make that video effect. So how you've got the video in the middle, you can record and narrate on your webcam what you're talking about in presentations, and save that as an MP4 file. So you can save that as an MP4 file and send that off elsewhere, but you can still save the PowerPoint presentation which has the video embedded into it, which is what we're going to be looking at. So this is the basic PowerPoint presentation. The background, as you can see on all of the slides, is white, or in this case here, is more of a sort of bluey colour, and there are embedded videos on some of the pages. What I did was I switched to this PowerPoint presentation, and this PowerPoint presentation is all of the backgrounds to the slides have that green background on it. Now that's important because what we're going to do is use colour coding to strip out that green colour, so it's effectively floating on a transparent background. So as I say, if you make your PowerPoint presentation, save it on this transparent background, then you're able to show that in Manycam. And on Manycam, on any of the screens, so this screen here that you're seeing, if I right click on here, I can choose different cameras to have here. I've got various either virtual or physical cameras set up. I can have a game playing, I can have mobile devices, media files, which is could be an MP4 file, or it could be photographs and so on. Now PowerPoint presentations, I could select here. What it does is this would actually import the slides and make a static JPEG of each slide. It's good to do, but it's not very dynamic. If you've got transitions between each slide, those won't be imported. If you've got embedded video and audio in each slide, those won't be imported. You can play YouTube URLs, which is handy. But what we're going to do here is actually choose a desktop area, and in which case we're going to be choosing a PowerPoint show. So if I'm going to build this from scratch, I'll show you exactly how I do that. So what you're doing right now is you're looking at my Manycam, and if I go back to this screen here where you can see me on screen. So this screen here is just me, it's just the camera. I've got this logo here, I'll push that down in the corner. So if I want to change this, sorry Angela, Manycam, MANYCAM.com, Angela, sorry about that, my apologies. Can I just say at any point in this, if I seem to be going too fast or my Glasgow accent just seems to be too chunky, then chip in on the right hand side, tell me to stop, ask me to re-explain something. I do tend to go a little bit too fast, so my apologies. Manycam, Louise, can you type manycam.com in the comments? There you go. So back to where we are. So I'm on screen, and what I want to do is to share my PowerPoint, which I've already got set up. So in PowerPoint here, what I do is up in the corner is I set the PowerPoint show to begin. Now I've got two screens. It's not important. It really helps to have two screens, but it's not important to have that. But if you start your PowerPoint show, then I'll just go over to here. What I'm going to do is if I right click on the screen, I'm going to add a new layer, and on this layer I'm going to choose where is it? Desktop and app window, and the app window is actually the floating PowerPoint streaming presentation. So if I just click on this, what we've got there is the PowerPoint presentation. Now these are the elements that we want to use, but they're not in the place that we want to use them. So first of all, if I click on the background here, I want to move me over to the side, so I'm in the wrong place, so I'm going to click Control, I'm going to drag this over here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the brightness so that I'm a little bit more in the dark, and this will stand out. In fact, I've got an extra light here. I'm just going to put this on, so this is on my face, so I'm a little bit more better lit than I was before. The the element here that's got my PowerPoint slide in it. And again, if I wanted to play that PowerPoint slide, then I could click to move that along. That's in there. But as we can see at the minute, that is in green. We don't want it in green. We want it in transparent. So what I'll do here is I'll go over to, having selected this screen here, I'll go over to backgrounds. And what I'm going to do is switch on the virtual background. Now I don't want to blur it. Incidentally, what I should have done before is my background here, I'm just going to blur this a little for me. But going back to the presentation, we don't want that blurred at all. And I'm going to use the chroma key to give that a transparent.
Hey. Sorry, I had an echo then because I also had the event open as Stephen.
Are
you back?
I am back.
I was going to cover for you.
That's okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for covering for me. I need to squeeze in between the spaces here. So I'm going to minimise, but get you back on.
Okay.
Well, actually, I tell you, can I just shrink you down in the corner? Well, if you log on as yourself, are you logged on as yourself?
Yeah, you look. Can you not see I've got my lower third?
I can. So I'm just going to make me. I can see your lower third. That's really cool. So I'm just going to shrink you in the corner. Thanks, Louise.
I'll mute myself till you need me.
Yeah, if you mute yourself. So right now, I'll just double check what is shared in Manycam. In fact, what you're seeing on screen is the green screen. And what I'm going to do is to chroma key the background there for that Manycam. And by doing that, the color picker, I should be able to change the background to this. So with the reverse, the green stripped out, and I've stretched this out in terms of the stretch on the screen, what you've got is the PowerPoint presentation on a transparent background. So I could go right behind the presentation if I wanted to, and I could go through this as you saw last week. What can you see right now, Maury? Is it the Manycam you're looking to see? I'll go to that. Let me just share my Manycam in that case. I'm going to share a screen, choose the application window, Manycam, and I'll make this larger. Patrick, there's no particular green that you need to use, although if you go for the most luminous green, the most unnatural green, then that would be best in as much as it would not take out anything else. If you had green within your presentation, then it would pick up on that. So your presentation, maybe you want to make sure that there aren't any bright greens in there. You could choose a different color. You could choose blue or orange. In this case, I've chosen green. It's really not important because what we're doing is we use the chroma key to select the background that we want to strip out. So again, we've got the chroma key here is selected here. We've used the color picker. We've clicked on the green that was in the background there, and in doing so, that's stripped that out. So this is now, as you can see, on that transparent background. So if I was going to play that presentation, then so in this one, I've obviously got myself in a video in the corner, kind of in the shape of a mobile phone. The screen is actually green, as you can see here, but we've stripped it out so that it looks there. So the chroma key is the tool that's within Manycam. So this tool in Manycam here is what we use to strip out that background. And again, what we've been able to do is to have embedded videos. So as you can see, I'm here. I can look over at the woman who's speaking in the screen there. We can move over to the following screens. And again, when you've got this, just stop this fellow from talking. When you've got this, then it's much more engaging. It's much more dynamic. You've got that transparent background. You can move from slide to slide. You can have videos playing. What's that? Now, do we have any other questions? Maury says, can you play the audio of the embedded video or just play your audio? So in order to play the audio from the embedded video, I would choose System Audio here. I'm going to do that. Let's just go back. So you should be able to hear this woman speaking. Can you hear that okay, Maury? Patrick, is Chroma Key part of Manycam or another plugin? Chroma Key is part of Manycam. There are basic elements. Oh, there's no audio playing. Let me just double check. Ah, it's because I had it turned down. Let's just turn it on again.
Yes, I do, Whitney.
At the moment, we're looking for a learning and development advisor to come and work with us on our team.
Lo primero que tienes que hacer es asegurarte
Can you hear the audio now? Can
haya
someone
sido
confirm?
aprobada por tu manager y HRBP.
What is one of the world's
Perfect.
largest beauty industries with the purpose of celebrating and liberating the diversity of your beauty.
Let's move on to the
Different
next screen.
students.
So as you saw, we had the video, we had the audio, everything was playing at the same time. I'm still down in the corner, and we move on to the next slide, which is a straightforward slide. We move on to the How good next is your slide here, Spanish, which is a Patrick? video with no audio added. You'll see a man appear behind me. He's going to be looking at the screen. He will be talking, but you won't hear any audio, so I can speak over this, no problem. And again, that's going to be embedded into the MP4 file that is recorded at the end of this video. Let's move on to the next slide. I should really position myself in the right place so that I'm showing between the cracks here. On this slide, what I have is a transition. Now this is a really cool effect. Like a video. It's a large picture of a YouTube channel, and I've got it sliding across the screen. So as it's moving, I can be talking about what's happening up here and up here and this part here. Does anyone have any questions about what's happening this effect while this is scrolling past? And effectively, that's just one big transition. Move to the next screen. Okay, I'm just going to pause this. Top tips, and we're to the end of our presentation. I'll just pause this right here. So Patrick has asked, can I quickly show the camera setting again? So how you position yourself? Yep. So I'll go back to here. I'll just pause that. So yeah, in terms of camera settings, if you can see my Manycam, I'll just make sure that I'm looking at the same Manycam that you are. So on Manycam, at the top here, I can set the color adjustments. I can set the zoom. If I want to move myself around, then this frame here is with my Logitech Brio camera here. And if I want to move myself around, I can click on this to do that. I can zoom in and zoom out. So in terms of positioning yourself, the key thing there is to zoom in a little bit, and then you have the space within what you've zoomed in to position yourself on screen. So I'll position that over there. And again, any other element on screen like this logo, I could move over to wherever I wanted that to be, and I could have that coming up at any time. Angela asks, how do you move the next screen on? She can't see us or she's on her mobile. You would move the screen on in the same way. So I've got on my second screen over here the PowerPoint. But in order to move your screen on, you would use your spacebar or your mouse click, or you might have a remote clicker that would help to move your screens on from one to the other. Now I'm going to invite Louise back up. Louise, are you still there? Are you available? I'm going to unmute Louise. Can you hear me, Louise?
Can.
Okay. So in what we've done so far, do you have any questions that you'd want to chip in?
No, I think it's great. I've got a bit of an echo though, Stephen.
You've got an echo? How did that happen?
I don't know. I've probably got two tabs open.
I'm going to unshare the share of Manycam there, and I'm going to move myself back to the middle here. I'm going to remove this layer here.
I've got a very misty screen.
Misty screen. Oh, it looks like you're in the fog.
I don't know what that's about.
Okay.
No, I think it's brilliant. I'm just going to change my camera though.
So one of the biggest problems that people have at any time is when coming on screen they want to share a presentation and they want to have presentations with built-in video and audio, and that's obviously a big problem for a lot of people. But fog is usually a dirty camera.
Could well be.
Are you chopping about with your settings there?
Yeah.
Give it a rub with your finger. But yeah, the biggest problem that people often have is sharing a presentation altogether. But if you want to take it that step forward, then the ability to have yourself darken down, blur out your background. As you can see, I've got my background blurred here. A lot of people have done the silly thing where they change their background to whatever they want there, and you can also do it where you're changing your background to, I don't know, a roller coaster or whatever it is, and we've all had a play around with that. But on balance, one of the best ways of just making yourself stand out a little bit more on screen is to switch the blur on. So if I do this, then there's no blur at all. But if I whack it right up, then that's kind of crazy. But just a little bit of blur. As I say, it focuses the light on your new haircut you just got at the barber's 10 minutes ago. Once you've done that, then you can set about those other elements. So the key thing about Manycam is you can have layers upon layers upon layers, and you can get creative in the ways that you are playing around with it. The same way that I can, so this Nora logo here, it's obviously on a transparent background, and you can see through it. And if you're able to do that with a PowerPoint presentation by using the chroma key for the green screen to strip out the background, then it makes your presentations that much more interesting. Do you have any other questions from the chat bar? Anyone there?
What I would say is that the key is to play around with it as much as we try to do live in a session. Because I try to be fiddling on with Manycam while I'm live, and it's so stressful.
Well, yeah, you're dead right. Have a play around, get comfortable with the things that you want to use. It has so many tools in there that you don't want to play with them all. So in advance, have decided, right, I'm going to do this and nothing else. So it might be you're sharing a video, it might be you're sharing a presentation, but have that set up, and you can set up multiple scenes so you can switch from one thing to the other. It might be from one camera to the other camera. It might be that you're switching to show your presentation or play a video and so on, and you've got things queued up. So each show that you're going to do, you would have things set in advance so you're not overcomplicating things. But with a little bit of practice, then Manycam is so much more easy to use than other tools like OBS or VCam or XSplit. There's lots of different tools out there, but they all seem to be designed for very experienced, qualified AV engineers, whereas Manycam is much more kiddie craft. If you're used to using PowerPoint, then you can put things together in Manycam and essentially build up the layers of things that you want and any transitions or playlists that you want. The paid version of Manycam, Maury, there's a level where you get 6 presets or scenes, if you like, for setups, and that costs, I think, $29. There's the version above that which costs $60, and I got an offer in an email just during last week, I think, that stepped me up to the enterprise level for an extra $20. So they throw out offers on a regular basis. So I would recommend getting the $29 version first of all, and watch your email, because they will send you offers, and you get to step up to a lifetime license for relatively cheap.
I'm going to bob myself off the screen.
Okay.
Because nobody needs to see me.
No. We've seen you. We've seen enough of you, Louise. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming on. So on that, are there any other questions? No, Maury. The $29 is a one-off. you then own that. There is an annual, but they often offer for an extra $10 you can have a lifetime license. So it's not per month, it's not per year, it's lifetime. So the version that I have, I think, has 24 presets that I can have set up. It's got all the features, and I think in total it cost me about $80, and that's lifetime. So all the upgrades that will come, I'll get those, and it's very handy to have. Any other questions? Just double checking. I don't want to stay on too long. This was just a quick demo, but if anyone wants me to help them to set up for any of these kind of features or anything additional, then please let me know. In the past few months, I've been helping a number of companies with their AV setup to make sure that whoever it is who might not be that experienced in using webcams at all has the tools to hand to make sure that they get the effects that they want on screen, and they're not overcomplicating matters or looking like amateurs on screen. So can you use your Manycam with Audro? I believe so. So Manycam is effectively, Paul, it's a virtual webcam. If you think of it in this way, your real webcam goes into Manycam, and then Manycam goes to whatever you want to output your camera feed to. In this case, it's Crowdcast. It might be to LinkedIn Live or to Facebook Live or to Audro. So when you're selecting what webcam to use for Audro, you simply choose the Manycam virtual webcam. In fact, if I show you on screen again, I'm going to share something I should have showed before, but let me just go to this. So if I share this screen so you can see it again, and I'll make this full screen. So if I open up my settings here, then what you'll see, first of all, we were going to talk about subscriptions. So the subscriptions that you have, I've got the premium lifetime, and as I say, in total it's maybe cost me about $80. I had the studio lifetime, but for an extra $20 it stepped up to this. So these are lifetime licenses, and they don't change. In terms of using it with Audro, when you are setting up in the first place, then what you would see in your options to choose your webcam would be Manycam virtual webcam. You could set up multiple virtual webcams. You can have Manycam set up for RTMP streaming, which means that you can stream out directly to Crowdcast with a better bit rate, 1080 or even up to 4K. If I close this down here, then what you can see here is I've got selected 1080p, but I could go up to 4K. As it turns out, this camera here is a 4K camera. It's a Logitech Brio. But for the most part, wherever you're pushing out content to online, whether it be Zoom or Crowdcast or anywhere, usually the quality will be wound down to either 720 or 1080 at max. There are services on Zoom, for example, you can have 1080, but Zoom, in the same way as Netflix do, they've actually been squeezing down the bandwidth, because worldwide bandwidth is going to be is very much in demand right now. So yeah, you can change that. You can also change the frame rate per second up to 60 per second, right down to that, and that can depend on your broadband. So the more you use of this, the more you use of this, the better broadband you really need to have. But 1080p at 30 frames per second is all that you'll ever need, and the quality, well, that's what we're on just now, and this is the quality that you're getting for this. Incidentally, my microphone, if you're wondering, is one of these, and it's directly above my head, so the audio should be, in fact, if I had that over there, the audio might have been down a little bit. Angel City Press, thanks very much for clear demonstration. Oh, thank you very much. That's a nice compliment. Thanks, Alan. Thanks, everyone who's been joining me today. I'm not going to go any further than that, but I will be doing more of these shows. I've been doing them over the past few months. This is a kind of an impromptu one, but I'll do more of these shows. Thank you very much for joining this afternoon, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.